Thanks to the efforts of the likes of Elon Musk and Tucker Carlson, we all know what Russia thinks.
Ukraine is an artificial state.
But do you know what Ukrainians think? Do people in America think more or less along the same lines? Well, let's find out together. Russia, get out of Georgia and get out of Ukraine.
Yeah, it's not only Georgia, there's Chechnya, Cherkessia.
Did you fight for my country?
There's a war going on with Ukraine, right?
We should be looking to protect ourselves.
I'm sure you guys speak the same language, right?
No, it's two different languages.
Oh, it's two different languages?
Mistake that Americans are making, they think that all the world is kind of like that. How you guys doing? Do you have a minute to answer a couple questions about Ukraine? It's for your YouTube channel. Maybe you have an opinion. And it's nothing difficult.
I have an opinion.
It's first of all, you're familiar. There's a war going on with Ukraine, right? Russia and Ukraine. Yeah. Some say that Ukraine, being a very corrupt country, should U.S. really try and help Ukraine, being it corrupt, and maybe it's a vain effort.
No, I disagree. The Ukraine situation is dire, and they are our proxy enemy for Russia. If we don't support Ukraine, then sooner or later we'll be supporting somebody else fighting the same battle or fighting ourselves.
But people say that maybe it's a war that cannot be won, and we're just wasting money and giving it to somebody who is technically like corrupt. We don't know how that money is spent. What do you think about that?
I think it's a war that can definitely be lost if the wrong decisions are made, and I think that the Ukrainians have stood up for themselves remarkably. Just this past week, when they destroyed another cruiser of the Russian Navy. And they're doing marvelously well. And they just want to survive. It was I just saw online before I came to dinner tonight that the Russians are releasing a battalion of Ukrainian prisoners to go fight the Ukrainians.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The way you get news, how do you filter it to get the opinion that you're getting?
Well, the war, the very invasion itself was the tip-off that this is a dire condition, it's a dire situation. The fact that we tried warning them, and unfortunately they didn't listen to us about that the Russians were prepared to attack. Okay. And the Russians have no moral code. The Russians will do whatever they want to whoever they want. We need to support them to keep the rest of the world safe.
I think it's important to kind of talk about these ideas because the Russian propaganda efforts are really powerful and relentless. And some of the stuff that you may hear online is kind of like without any opposition force being pushed onto people, and some people may not be prepared to deal with that. Well, you seem to be very well informed, and I'm kind of glad to see you're first person of the day, by the way, or of this non-existent yet channel.
Slava Ukraini.
Oh my God, I'm very glad that we met you. Do you have a second? Do you have a minute to answer a couple questions about Ukraine? It's for a YouTube channel.
I'm from country of Georgia.
Georgia? Okay.
Yes, and my country is still occupied by Russia.
Yeah, part of the country is occupied by Russia.
This was the scene early on August the 8th, 2008, as Georgian rockets pounded the breakaway region of South Ossetia.
So I support Ukraine in this war.
If you follow the news, there is a narrative that Ukraine is a very corrupt country and maybe United States should not be helping because we don't know where the money is going and if it's even helping.
I understand that question. It needs a lot of control because maybe some few honest people there, but also there is a lot of reds, and it's a politics. So you can control a lot of people. But I support because Ukraine right now, it's not only his war, it's a lot of countries who Russia invaded, and I think it's a war of the world against West and East.
So you think this is like a beginning of World War III in a way?
World War III, yeah, probably, but World War III, it's gonna be like, I think, more easier. Because it's right now we have internet, social media. There is a lot of lies in internet too. Everybody who have more power and money can control the media, right?
I think for you it's a little different because you can see a lot of parallels in Russia-Ukraine war and Russia-Georgia war, because Russia said a lot of the same things that they said about Georgia, and now they're saying about Ukraine.
South Ossetia, a breakaway state that Russia considers an independent republic, and Georgia calls occupied territory.
Russia-backed separatists captured the regions of Donetsk and Luhansk and declared them independent of Ukraine. But in November 2021, Putin decided to go all in.
Считаю необходимым принять уже давно назревшее решение. Незамедлительно признать независимость и суверенитет Донецкой Народной Республики и Луганской Народной Республики.
It was not only Georgia. I raised in a war, it started in 19 when Russia invaded, and Abkhazia war, which Russia took from Georgia.
Abkhazia is part of Georgia, right?
That's right, yes. And after that 2008, they took places which is near my family's village.
Russia voted to recognise South Ossetia and Abkhazia as independent states, a decision condemned by Western leaders. Russian troops remained in force in both regions, which Tbilisi considers occupied territories.
There is some people not even can go their own parents' grave because Russia still moved their border. I think Russia have to take care of his own country because it's have empty, people suffering in villages, and Russia is very rich country, and if this money would be used for a people in Russia, the Russia gonna be wealthiest and very intelligent country.
I think those are good words, so we're gonna say Russia, get out of Georgia and get out of Ukraine.
Yeah, it's not only Georgia, there is Chechnya, Cherkessia, everything. They invaded the countries which Russia even did not exist, right?
Yes.
If you know history, Russia was under 300 years under Mongolian Empire, right?
Yes.
So it was 17th or 16th century when first king they had. So it was Caucasia and all this, North Caucasia and all these countries were before Russia. So I'm an artist and I have my own opinion about that. I went through a lot of because of Russia, and
personal struggles.
Personally, yeah, born and raised in Georgia, country of Georgia. So I saw by myself the wars and everything for nothing, And I don't support any kind of war. We have to learn how to live together and love to each other.
Thank you so much for your message and for taking a couple of minutes to answer these questions. You just heard the general thing that there's a war going on. Your understanding, who's right, who's wrong in this situation?
We can only say one thing right now here. No war. That's it. That's the only answer I have.
War
Just
is not the
stop
solution.
the war. That's it. Yeah.
Stopping the war is what?
No matter
needs to
where
be
we
done.
are from, no matter which country is that, I can say only one thing. Just stop the war. That's it.
Yeah.
I appreciate the good message of peace, and thank you guys for your time.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you very
Thank
much.
you for
Have a good day.
having us. Thank you.
Sometimes it's hard to negotiate peace with somebody who came to murder you. We should remember that Ukraine did not start this war. Russia came into Ukraine. Russia started killing people unprovoked. Ukraine was never a threat to Russia, and right now they're doing genocide on Ukraine, and sometimes you cannot fight something like that with peaceful messages. You have to fight, you have to take weapons and show that you are able to fight until the fighting stops. Have you heard this argument that's going around that Ukraine is a very corrupt country, and should United States even help Ukraine, considering that maybe these funds are not going to the intended targets?
Yes, I hear about it a lot, and I think that US can keep helping Ukraine, and not only financially. I love the structure that they have in US. Here, people feel more safe. The system is more polite, so you feel yourself more comfortable. And I think it will be a good idea. Make a condition for Ukraine, so US will still help Ukraine financially, but they have to provide the same system. So it will be very good for Ukraine, and we can also make something with our corruption. Because
And the system is like less corruption and more security, like the United States is.
Yes.
So you think United States should continue to support Ukraine despite everything?
yes, I think I hope, and I am very grateful to US for they doing this. And I think like everyone knows that if US will stop do it, it will getting much worse, and Russia will not stop. And after they can take some break, and after other country will feel the same situation.
So it will not stop with Ukraine. Russia will continue.
So if they will feel more powerful, I think no.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for your time. That was very good. We're talking about Ukraine and Russia war. Are you familiar a little bit about that?
I'm aware of it.
Yeah. So there's a narrative going on that Ukraine, being the corrupt country, we don't know where the money is going, whether it's really helping. Should U.S. continue to help Ukraine considering all this?
If I don't know where the money's going, I mean, it's kind of sketchy because, you know, I don't follow politics, but I'd rather not speak on it because I don't know the underlying story behind that, because I'm sure there's a motive. It might be propaganda. They might have a fake.
It might be, yeah, we don't know.
We don't know.
So your personal position, are you for Ukraine or are you for Russia?
I'm either.
Neither. So there's a war going on. You don't have a position on that.
No, I'm more for them to unite and come to a common ground and get along. You guys are neighbors. I'm sure you guys speak the same language, right?
No, it's two different languages.
Oh, it's two different languages?
Yes. This part is very important. What he's saying sounds like a message of peace, but in reality, this is a crafty piece of Russian propaganda. As they're genociding on Ukraine, Russia is spreading the message of uniting and peace. But Ukraine knows that if they stop resisting, they will stop existing. And so Ukraine has to fight to survive because Russia is relentless. And in the eyes of the world, Ukraine seems like a warmonger because they want to keep fighting, and Russia is seemingly spreading the message of peace. Let's say there is a woman being assaulted and a predator is trying to rape and murder her, but at the same time he's screaming, "Oh, stop resisting, what is fighting gonna do? We're neighbors, let's unite." But the woman says, "Hell no, I will fight you till my dying breath, I will try to hurt you back. Can somebody hand me some weapons so that I can fend off this attacker?" Are you still citizen of Somalia?
Yes.
But you reside in the United States?
Yes, I am.
Okay. Do you think this war that Ukraine and Russia, is it affecting other countries as well? Is it affecting Somalia maybe, or some other countries?
It's only affecting America.
It's only affecting United States?
Right.
In what way?
America is
It's not an American smell. It's not an American smell. You American? Then shut the fuck up. You ain't American. Fuck that. Don't say nothing. You ain't American, but you fought for my country. Did you fight for my country?
All right, sir, please let us do this.
Shut the fuck up.
Yeah. Jesus. This is that magic moment when God heard our prayers and sent an angel to voice what I was hearing inside my head. The person who was walking by was a US veteran, patriot, and he knew personally the person we are interviewing. He knew his America-hating views, so he intervened with his emotional outburst. In the interest of journalistic pursuit, I begrudgingly asked the veteran to let us continue with the interview.
The United States has a lot to do with what's going on, because there's something that everybody fears that people don't know about, and they avoid. When you avoid something, and you constantly avoid something, and you fear something, you created a narrative to cover it. So America has a lot to do with what's going on.
So you think that
not happen without America's fault?
So if it wasn't for United States, this war would not happen between Russia and Ukraine?
No.
This is a common theme with all America-hating and dictatorship-loving people, sleepers, as I call them. They always immigrate to United States or European Union, maybe Australia, so they stay in these evil Western countries and love their favorite dictatorship from a distance. They never immigrate to Russia, they're not jumping over the border into North Korea, and they're not trying to get a visa to China. How does United States orchestrate these wars, or this war in particular?
They orchestrated the plan to do it, to distract the public, and to gather more funds for whatever use they're using it for. Because they control all the banks, so America doesn't control the banks.
So United States does not control the banks. Who controls the banks?
Russia.
Russia controls the banks.
Right.
But United States orchestrated the war between Russia and Ukraine.
Right. There's a lot of things that's not been published to the public, and Russia's the only country that people gotta watch for.
No, God! No, God, please, no!
Because they're very advanced than America, but America think that they're more advanced.
So Russia is more advanced than America?
Right.
In what way?
Technology. The main seeding is Russia and China. And those are the two things that are very, very alarming. It might be propaganda. They might have a fake.
It might be, yeah, we don't know.
We don't know. So
certain argument going around, espoused by people like Tucker Carlson and Vivek Ramaswamy, the presidential candidate for Republican Party, that Ukraine, being the very corrupt country that it is, the aid that we're sending to them may not reach its destination and may not be helpful at all. So should even United States continue to help Ukraine considering this?
I think that's a very slippery slope because there's a lot of different opinions in the United States right now regarding where money should be going. And I think it's a valid argument that we should be looking to protect ourselves, no disrespect to the Ukrainian people or the Russian people for that matter. And we have so many underfunded programs. Like we have a government that needs to vote to keep our funding going to run our country.
Right.
So it's difficult to be in a position where you feel 100% committed to giving money internationally as aid packages when you don't really know where that money's coming from to begin with. And look at it from a humanitarian and a financial. If you can combine those two, then sure. If people are suffering, innocent people, there's no reason why the United States shouldn't stand up to help people who need our help. As long as that has some kind of check and balance to make sure that money's not misappropriated or misused or, like you said, never gets to the people that it needs to get to, that oversight is something none of us here in America who are not doing business or working with Ukraine, we have no idea where that money's going.
But the report's finding no evidence that any U.S. military aid to Ukraine has been misused or stolen.
At this time, there remains no credible evidence of illicit diversion of U.S.-provided advanced conventional weapons from Ukraine.
Do you consider that the United States should keep helping Ukraine, considering all the circumstances?
A yes or no answer, yes. But I do think that we need better oversight for this. Just like any of the aid relief that we're giving to any of these countries abroad, I think we've mismanaged trillions of dollars just in the last two administrations. That if we had better oversight and our country ran better and there wasn't so much bureaucratic red tape behind programs like this, I think that money would eventually get to the people that it really should be getting to.
Can I ask you, do you think this war in Ukraine, between Ukraine and Russia, is it only concerning Ukraine and Russia, or is it more global? Maybe it's concerning all of the countries, primarily United States.
It does concern the world. It's not just a regional conflict, because the outcome of it means so much to other nations' interests, the United States included. One of the reasons we're supporting Ukraine is because we know that access and denying that access to Russia, to the ports in the Ukraine, etc., it all has ramifications. Do Americans have staked interest in that? Most of us not directly so. But we all understand that the outcome of whatever happens in those nations has a great deal to do with freedom, democracy, communism, what side of the fence you're on. You have to have an open mind and look at that objectively. But I don't have any family there. I don't have any business interest in it. But I am a human being, and I care about people who don't needlessly need to be impacted by war. I have plenty of friends who are Ukrainian, plenty of friends who are Russian, and talking to them all, they all feel, I can see that they all are genuinely hurt by it. They don't have any kind of anger toward each other, really. They're really just hurt with what they've done to one another. That's what's important. We need to focus on that.
So when you say what they've done to one another, Ukraine did not attack Russia, right?
Well, okay, so if you go back prior to this conflict, the area has been at unrest for quite a while, right? This is the culmination of all of that, of course. They did not attack Russia initially. But what they have done, like the guerrilla campaigns back and forth, Russian citizens were caught in the middle of some of those attacks when the Ukraine struck back.
Did Ukraine ever attack Russia?
Not offensively. They did not go after the Russian people. They defended them.
They did not go into Russia at all.
Well, they've been in Russia now.
With the full-scale invasion, yeah, they've attacked some targets in Russia, yes.
That I've seen plenty of evidence.
And that's enough justification to say that what they're doing to each other.
Let's say you have Russian citizens who are not connected to the military, right? They feel terrible that their nation has done what they've done to the Ukrainian people. And then when I've spoken to a couple of friends that I have from the Ukraine, and of course they are backing their country and the fight against the Russian military, but they feel bad about the Russian people that have been hurt as innocent civilians in this.
My initial question was, you said they're doing it to each other, but only Russia attacked Ukraine. Ukraine did not attack Russia, even with those things that are happening, right? It's like if you're saying this woman got attacked and raped, but in the process she scratched his face. What they've done to each other, this is horrible,
When I say what they've done to one another, I refer to the guilt that's associated with war by the people who aren't fighting the war. And Americans feel that way too. We've done plenty around the world, and we're still doing it, where innocent people are impacted by what we do. If we're involved in the Gulf War, plenty of innocent people died in that conflict, sadly. We have
Gulf War, that's with Iraq, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And we have troops there now. We have troops in Syria now. We still have a presence in Kuwait. We are actively engaging and striking back because of the missile attacks on our bases in Iran.
Iran
is doing a lot of that.
So Russia cannot stop, my opinion, because too much is invested in prestige, and their power around the world has been questioned all this time. If they stop by any means, it's going to be catastrophic for Russia. If Ukraine stops, it's a genocide of Ukraine and destruction of Ukrainian state. Do you think that World War III has already started?
Oof. It was said by many, many philosophers that the Third World War, the last World War, would start in a place away from the superpowers. And if you look at it that way, potentially we could see this now. Between what's happening in Israel, what's happening in Ukraine, what's happening in Yemen, if that holds true, then yes, I think we may have begun the Third World War.
America is unique in the way it perceives the world, but the mistake that Americans are making, they think that all the world is kind of like that. You know, that there are people, everyone is compassionate, that nobody wants to see genocide, that nobody enjoys killing and sending like videos to their friends. Look, I raped this person. You know, like you know, it's hard for you to imagine. So you have to create your own you know, justifications for everything. But it may not be exactly how you think it is. With all utmost respect.
Yes, and respect given too. Thank you.
Well, thank you. What's the dog's name?
The dog that's Chloe.
Chloe, do you have something to say?
She always seems to have something to say.
You guys are boring me with your politics. I appreciate your time. Thank you so much. My hand is sweaty from holding this.
You must be cramped up.